because I do know some folks that if I stay around them too much, I feel like 10 years older when I leave their presence, and I got to have some boundaries there. And I say, I don't want to be one of those people. I want people to walk away from me smiling, not saying, that guy's always complaining. He must be old.
Welcome to the Rock Life segment, where we're going to noodle on how to develop a great mindset in retirement. And to help us is Mark Ross, coach in the Rock Retirement Club. How you doing, Mark?
Doing good out here today. Sun's out, loving it.
Now, I have a lot of conversations with people transitioning and living in retirement, usually in their 50s and 60s. When they think about retirement, they're excited about the first 10 years. We start talking about 80 to 90, the later years. All of a sudden, their attitude about that gets a little less positive. So, from a mindset standpoint, how do we think more positively about later years in retirement from a mindset standpoint?
Yeah, great question. And this is something I am not 80, I'm 67, but I've been thinking about this for the last couple of years, this whole thing of aging. And I think it's because we've watched parents pass away. I've had some friends that have gotten sick and passed away, and it's kind of dancing around all around me. And I started thinking, wow, I'm not 57, I'm 67. And by the way, I think you and I met like 10 years ago. So we're both 10 years older. And I have to say, this has been a little bit of a struggle for me, like to accept that I am aging, but I don't feel old, but I found a resource that's really helped me with my mindset and perspective.
Mark, before we go to the resource, to put a really sharp point on it, as we get older, at least in my experience, we're surrounded by a lot more illness and, bluntly, a lot more death. We start to know a lot of more people that are dying. Even if they're dying with just a great life lived, it's hard to have a positive attitude when you start to just have to deal with these transitions more and more, these events more and more. I don't ever remember dealing with this in my 40s or my 30s.
It happened, but it was different. It wasn't as frequent. And we were at dinner with some friends not long ago, and sometimes you hear us talk about, oh, I got to have a knee replaced, or I got to do this or that. And it's like, and I must have made a comment that triggered one of them, and they turned to me and says, let's just face it, we're old now. And I thought, I don't think I buy that. What is old? How old is old? And that's why mindset is so important, and who we listen to and who our friends are and who we surround ourselves with. So I started digging into this and found a resource. It's a great book, great title. It's called Who Do You Want to Be When You Grow Old? And these two guys wrote it, and one of them's been real involved in the purpose movement. I actually read it twice. I'm rereading it.
What the heck is the purpose movement?
The purpose movement is, this guy's like 75, Richard Leiter, 75, 76, 77. And he's all about, there is a path to purposeful aging. He admits, I'm not young, I'm older, but I choose a purposeful path for aging.
Okay. I thought it was some foo-foo thing. I just wanted to check.
No. I thought that at first too. It is not how to live to 125 and never have any ailments. It's nothing like that. Accepting the fact that and here's the premise, as we grow older, the emphasis is on grow. We don't just have to get older. So in our minds, what if we tell ourselves, who do I want to be as I grow older? If he distills this for himself after doing tons of research and working with a lot of smart people. It's like his mantra for himself when he gets up in the morning is grow and give. That's me. I grow and I give. I learn. I do things that are meaningful to me. He's hiked mountains and taken people out into deserts and things. He can't do all that stuff like he used to, but it's not like, what can I not do anymore? It's like, what can I still do that makes sense to me and brings purpose and meaning to my life? So it's chock full of it's pretty common sense stuff, but it takes some intentionality to think in these terms and not get stuck and swim around into, I'm old. I go to the doctor more frequently. I just went this morning for the checkup with dermatology. He said, don't come back for a year. I thought, well, that's interesting. It used to be every 6 months. So I like that.
Well, this idea of positive mindset, sometimes it can feel like it's being Pollyannish and just ignore all those aches and pains that you have. I mean, I don't know about you, Mark, but I wake up every day with aches and pains. Or when I start to exercise, I don't feel as young as I used to, but I do it anyway. So I think it's important that you don't have a choice. You're going to grow old either way. It's just a matter of, do you approach it as much on your toes and leaning into it in some purposeful way, or on your heels and just letting it happen to you? It sounds easy, but it's not.
Well, that's true. And it does take a lot of intentionality to think in those terms. And he gives three things that, well, he gives a lot, but here are three things that if we pay attention to these, because I believe we can all find ourselves in a valley at times. I don't care how positive you've been. And this isn't positive psychology. It's common sense kind of stuff. But he says, usually when we're doing something that helps other people, it brings purpose to them and meaning to ourselves. And a lot of us struggle with finding purpose sometimes. Maybe it fades away. But here's something he says, let's refresh. Let's find out how we want to help other people. How is a way you or I might want to help other people? Second thing is find out who you really want to help. Who are these folks that you think you want to help? And then find out and ask yourself, this is always a good exercise, what energizes you and gives you a smile on your face? And then what drains you? Those three simple steps can help refresh this mindset of, and hey, I'm 67, okay? And I know that. I know people in their 80s that have a lot of ailments, and they don't tend to complain about them a whole lot, and they don't ignore them either, but they don't dwell in it. They have something going on in their life that's bigger than themselves, and that tends to help them, I think, be on this path of purposeful aging. That's what excites me about it and keeps me encouraged, because I do know some folks that if I stay around them too much, I feel like 10 years older when I leave their presence, and I got to have some boundaries there. And I say, I don't want to be one of those people. I want people to walk away from me smiling, not saying, that guy's always complaining. He must be old.
That's why I always limit my ailment talk whenever I'm at dinner with friends to like 5 minutes, and then I redirect.
Yeah. Don't ignore it. Admit it, but move on, right?
All right. Great advice. Thanks, Mark.